that's going to all lead to having an engaged audience with people coming to you who actually are interested in what you have to say, what you have to share, and what you have to sell. Hi, I'm Lena V, your holistic mentor. I am the founder of Holistic Language Learning, which is a platform that is dedicated to enhancing the well-being, business, and branding of entrepreneurs worldwide. And today, we are going to cover one of the most requested topics by any of my clients, by anybody on all of my platforms. And this one is going to be especially relevant to you if you are a content creator. Now, if you create content, not just for example as an influencer, but if you do anything like write emails, you create images, you post something on Instagram. So if you create content for your business as a coach, as an educator, if you're an entrepreneur that creates content, then this is something that you're going to want to tune into. Because I'm going to be talking about the 8 key ingredients for a successful, a winning content strategy. Now, in today's world, the digital world especially is saturated by content, right? So if you want to be somebody who stands out in your business, if you want to attract the right kinds of clients through your content, if you want to make sales in your business and build a personal brand, then you're going to have to create content. That's just inevitable, right? And so to just give you a really brief definition of content itself before we get into, talking about strategy or the 8 key ingredients for a winning content strategy, then we need to understand what content even is. If you write emails, if you talk to anybody in your life, if you create videos, images, if you communicate, then you are creating content. Me standing here talking to you right now is content. Whether I'm recording it, whether I'm writing it down, however it gets transmitted, this is content. There are various means to do so, right? And so a lot of us kind of know how to create it, but maybe don't have a strategy behind it. Now, it is important to have a content strategy. And this is something that took me a really long time to learn and understand, because I started creating content in 2011. And I went and, sought after my passions and started a business then in 2016 and was really, became really good at creating the content, but I was missing a strategy. And I found that missing that key element was the reason why I was feeling burnt out, because I was spending at least 15 hours a week creating just one piece of content, right? Not knowing how to repurpose it, not knowing how to optimize it. And so what that led to was, as I said, burnout, unfulfillment, and I wasn't seeing any increase, despite the increase of my energy and efforts, in my business and my sales. And so all the energy I was putting in wasn't being reciprocated, wasn't converting. So maybe you have this struggle as well, that you're creating this content, but you don't actually really have a clue or a goal or a strategy behind it. Like, what's it leading to? What even is a content strategy? Why is it important to me? You want to make sales, you want to connect with people, you want to build a community, you want to impact the lives of others. You need to have a strategy in place, because otherwise you're just throwing bullets out into the dark, into an abyss that aren't really going to go anywhere. And as I just mentioned, I know this struggle. I know what it's like to be creating content and just be going off on a whim of just hoping that something will land. Of thinking, I've got all the answers. It's as easy as just writing something, recording something, and boom, there it goes. Now, I've been creating content since 2011. And in 2016, when I started creating my business, I got really good because I tapped into so many different areas of content creation. I learned the tools of the trade, the tricks of the trade. And only 2 years into creating content to attract more customers and build my personal brand, I was sought after by some really well-known companies in the language space, in the tech space, and in the fashion industry as well, to create content for them. And so I went on and understood now how to implement and create really successful content strategies, and then had also the ability to create great content. And so this is something that I help my clients do, and in our business as well, with holistic language learning, which I established only less than 2 years ago. I saw more turnaround, more engagement, more sales in 6 months of my business than I did in 6 years with my previous venture. And all of this as well because I had the help of my partner, my husband, my COO, who is a military strategist and has just 20 years of experience in coaching and working with strategy and implementing successful strategies in businesses and beyond. So that's where all this information comes from. And in this live, you are going to be able to then learn some of the key ingredients, as I mentioned, some of the key tools that you need to consider if you perhaps don't have a content strategy yet and are looking at creating one. You have no clue because data and analytics is just like a foreign language to you. Then that's okay, because that's what I'm going to help you with today. And also, if you do maybe have a strategy and you have some idea of, what your goals and objectives are and how you're creating content, but you want to optimize it to really achieve your goals with more ease and more effectiveness, then the 8 tools I'm going to give you today, the 8 key ingredients, are going to help you get there. So let's get straight to talking about the 8 key ingredients. Now you're going to want to get a pen and paper if you want to write this down. But what I recommend even more is what I'm going to be taking you through today. I've actually got in a really simplified, colorful, aesthetically pleasing infographic that is really simple to understand and is going to detail everything I talk about in this training. So have that with you. At best, when you watch this, print it out. You can pause the training, come back to it, and really be looking at it as I'm taking you through it, because that's going to be even more effective in learning that. So what you can do to download that is go and check out the link in my bio. That is where you're going to see the very first link. It will take you there to the free downloadable. This tool is free. I'm sharing it with you because it has been a tremendous help for me in establishing my content strategy. These are the biggest considerations my team and I use when we're looking at how to improve and implement our next strategy when it comes to our content. And so please go and check that out. Download it, have it there, and let's get into it. So, of the 8 key ingredients, I have to say first of all that these are holistic. As you know, everything that I do is holistic. And so what I'm going to be taking you through is a combination of, yes, like data-driven tools and kind of tips and points, but they're also aligned with some considerations that you will never actually see in the majority of strategy trainings, not that I have found or that my team has found. So this is incredibly unique, and it provides a really balanced approach, because at the end of the day, yes, data analytics and all of that is important. Having a strategy and a plan is important, but we're also dealing with human beings. You're a human being, your clients are human beings. And so there are also elements from that need to be taken into consideration. And so the first point that I want to touch on, the first key ingredient that you need to consider for your content strategy, is alignment with your personal values. We start here because if you don't start with your values, anything you do is not going to be as effective, and it's probably going to lead to unfulfillment and a disastrous end. Now, I know that that's a little bit of an exaggeration maybe, but it's true. And I know this from my own life. When I started creating content because it was just something that other people wanted me to see. Now, really, to be more specific, I opened up a second channel after my first one got quite successful, and I started creating content in Portuguese because I was getting a lot of engagement and a lot of, engagement and people's interest. But I didn't start with aligning my goals with my values. So I had to set this goal, and I said, all right, let's go create content. Let's make all these videos. What ideas do I have? And it led to, well, me getting really just unmotivated, not wanting to continue because I didn't have this start. And the other key reason why you want to have this starting point, your compass leading you, which is your values, is because when you're in alignment with your values, you're also going to be attracting the right type of audience that's also on that frequency. So if you, for example, have a value of learning and growth, you probably want to work with people who also have that value. And so when you start there, the likelihood of you attracting those people is going to be way higher, and you're going to be more satisfied in your work and in creating the content that you're creating. So the second point, our second key ingredient, is personal style. You want to consider, what is your personal style? You know, what is the tone of your voice? What is the tone that you want to project out there in your brand and in your content? You know, who do you want to attract? What makes you special? Because, as I mentioned earlier, you know, the market today is not necessarily oversaturated, but it is quite saturated. It is quite busy. And so we need to do more to stand out. And especially with the implementation of AI and different tools, it's becoming more imperative than ever before for your personal style, your humanity to shine through. So that's the second key thing to consider. Really understand what makes you unique, what makes you special, and share that in your content. Now, number 3, our third ingredient, is the level of enjoyment. Now you'll see as well the points I'm taking you through, they align with each other. It's a holistic strategy. Now, you need to enjoy your work. That's just like, I can't say it any other way. If you're not enjoying what you're doing, if you're not enjoying creating content, then I highly advise that you hire somebody who does, because it's gonna show through. It's very easy for customers and people in general to see if you're actually like loving what you do or you don't, or if you're just standing there or writing something because you feel pressured to. It comes across. So you need to be enjoying what you're doing. If you're not, and that's okay, because content creation isn't for everybody. Not everybody enjoys doing it. So if you don't, please go and hire somebody. It's going to save you so much more time, so much more energy. Because imagine spending like 4 hours a day doing something that you hate. It's not a recipe for success. These ingredients I'm giving you are there to give you the recipe to success. Now, let's move on to the next one, number 4. We need to look at our audience's needs and preferences. This is something that I honestly didn't do the best job at. But I found that when I truly understood my audience's needs and preferences, then I could actually start creating content that was more aligned with the people that I wanted to serve. It helped serve them in a much more effective way, because we need to have a balance. Yes, you should definitely create content that you enjoy. It's the previous point, right? But if you are looking at selling your courses, selling your coaching, selling any type of service or product, building a community at the same time, then your audience's needs definitely need to be looked at. Because then as well, when you're creating your content and your products, you already have data there, like an evidence-based approach, showing you, hey, this is what you need to talk about. People need this. You want to be the painkiller, not the vitamin in your industry. Think about it. When people go out there and they're looking for something, it's probably because they're challenged by something. We don't really buy vitamins when you know, because they're nice to have. We look at, hey, when we have a pain, what's going to help me solve that pain? So listen to your audience. Super important. Now, the 5th key ingredient is to understand your organization's goals and objectives. Why is this important? If you're creating content and you don't have an idea about what your organization's goals and objectives are, then you need to stop creating content, because it's going to lead to nowhere. Now that may sound very harsh, but again, take it from me. I created content for 6 years and I didn't actually have a clear objective. Now, I was lucky that my content creation skills led me to opportunities and helped me, yes, to gain more clients in my teaching business. But they also led me to a path of becoming an influencer and, gaining different brand deals and things like that that were great. But I ended up pivoting and changing up my whole business model. Now, if I had had my goals and objectives really clearly defined, trust me, my content would have been different and I wouldn't have spent so much time and energy with seeing very little return on that. That's the surefire way to burn out. I've seen other people in my industry experience that. You don't want to do that. The next key ingredient that we need to really consider is our form, our type. Now, what do I mean by this? Are you creating video? Are you creating quotes? Are you creating text, email? What is the content that you're focusing on? And the key consideration here as well, like let's say you're at the beginning of the journey, you need to test and try out different things, right? But once you've found like the content that works, stick with that. And then you optimize it by repurposing it. So for example, this video right here that I'm doing, this live training, I use my videos and I repurpose them. So here's a little bit of an insider tip. You're gonna wanna note this down. So I take this, I cut it up into different video clips and I put them out on my other platforms so that more people are getting this value. And it's all coming from one piece of content. So what I talk about then, we also have a blog that goes out there. We send out an email to our email list with even more value coming from the same topic. So think about the type of content and the form. That's extremely important because you want to then know what works well so that you can continue doing it. It's that simple. And this connects really to the next point as well from our content strategy, our key ingredient for a winning content strategy. You want to consider the platform. So this ties in with the previous point, but it goes even deeper. Because one of the most common mistakes I see is that people are trying to be on multiple platforms at once. So let's say TikTok is currently trending. Oh man, I'm gonna go and start creating videos for TikTok. Or you do some research and you go, oh my goodness, I found out that Facebook groups are really a great tool to use. I'm gonna go and start creating content on Facebook. When you're creating content, it's better to focus on one platform and one thing, especially as a solopreneur. That's my advice because I've seen this work for my business. I focused in on where the content I was creating was getting the best results. Boom. Once I did that, I was able to leverage everything I was doing to gain even better results. Do you want to have mediocre results and be posting on every single platform out there? Or would you rather be successful and achieving your objectives by being on the one platform? I'll let you answer that question, but I definitely know the answer for myself. Next point, frequency and resources. Consider the fact that you're going to need some sort of resources to be creating your content. If it's video content, images, using a phone is perfectly fine. And because you're going to be using your resources, you probably want to know that your resources are going to good use. Now, when I'm talking about frequency as well, frequency not only refers to, how much content you're putting out there, but also the energy that's being emitted. So focus in on your expertise. Share as much content about that one topic as you can before you move on to a different topic, because it's going to send out a much better frequency than if you're starting to use sporadic topics and talk about them in that way. And you want to build yourself as a thought leader, as somebody who stands out. So this is a really important consideration for that. Those are the 8 key considerations for your content strategy. Please download the infographic, the worksheet that I have for you. It's a checklist. It has all the details there, 3 pages long. It's simple to use so that you can have this with you and start implementing your content strategy today. As a coach, as an entrepreneur, you want to stand out. So by implementing the content strategy behind what you're doing and using these 8 key ingredients to help you to do so, you're going to be able to build a much more effective brand that is actually going to resonate with the people that you want it to resonate with. If you're ready to go deeper, if you're ready to make that happen, if you're done with staying stuck with your content and not seeing the results you desire, then click the link in my bio, download my 8 key ingredients to a winning content strategy, and you'll have the tools there. And this is also something that goes in combination with my blog article. Now, when you download that, please check out the blog. There's also a link in there that's going to take you to that. Use these side by side because that's how you're going to get the most effective results. And let me know how this went for you. I really want to know how this helped you. And I'm always excited to hear about the feedback. So go and check that out. Download it now. And remember that you have everything in you that you need to make your dreams happen. Stay inspired. I'm Lina V, and I'll see you next time.